Going? Yo, what's up? Or hey, what's up, you guys? Happy Saturday, live stream, the normal thing. I said, hey, what's up, you guys? But it's funny when I do live events or I show up at a sit-in, like I sit in with my friends here in Nashville called the Pitch Meeting. I sit in with them a lot on Tuesdays, and every once in a while I do a gig. Like I'm playing this Sunday at 6 p.m. in Nashville at this great. It's a whole guitar festival going on this weekend in Nashville at this great dive bar that's really become a hub of guitar playing here in Nashville. It's called The Underdog. This Sunday, 6 p.m. with the band. I'm going to do my own set. You know, it's one of those things where I get invited. That's one of those ones where I feel like I don't want to say no to it because all the other amazing, all the other amazing guitar players that are part of it, some of the best. Any of the best guitar players in Nashville mean they're kind of like the best in the world. Obviously, you have your famous guitar players like Slash and John Mayer and those, kind of A-list celebrity guitar players. I don't think, well, those two definitely don't live in Nashville. But when you're talking just true talented guitar players, they're in Nashville, and this festival has the best guitar players in Nashville playing there, which basically does mean the best in the world. And some of those names would be Brett Mason, Luke McQuarrie's a young, amazing guitar player, Guthrie Trapp, obviously he does a lot of YouTube stuff as well, so he is incredible. The list goes on and on. I have a bunch of heavy hitters sitting in with me. So anyway, though, that's this Sunday in Nashville at the Underdog at 6 p.m. But if you showed up early or late, you're still going to see amazing guitar players. So if you know anyone in that Nashville area, let them know about it. Or if you're around, check it out. So today's title of this live stream is kind of an experiment, and there's like the pessimistic side of me and the positive side of me. And as far as what I do with you guys and what I've always done with Marty Music is always done positive. You know, when there's a negative story or controversy, I don't usually jump on that. I also don't just overall want to do negativity. That's just my personality. You know, before YouTube, I taught little kids and I taught people and brought guitar into their life that made their life better. And even when, you know, YouTube might reward a more negative kind of, you know, actually all the internet rewards negativity because it drives engagement. And I think that's really bad for society in general. And that does not stop at guitar. That is our entire culture right now. And before the internet, you know, the news would do the same thing. They still do it, even worse now. And clickbait titles and all that stuff. The only thing close to a clickbait title is, you know, leaving some intrigue or mystery, but all for me, Marty Music, and then always backing it up though. So it's like, try these 3 things to get better at lead guitar, but then I feel comfortable saying that because then I know that I'm going to back it up with a true lesson that answers that little bit of mystery. You know, that's just basic marketing. But in the guitar world, YouTube world specifically, there's been a new kind of story that broke with this particular guy. And so, once again, I didn't make a long form video on it, and I'm not even going to say the name. I'm not going to use the name in the title. I'm not going to use the name in my tags. Tons of people wanted me to talk about it, and so I'm not going to talk about it specifically, but I'm just going to kind of use it as an overall observation. One, on just our current culture, and two, you know, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, rewarding the controversy and negative headlines and all that. So the story broke about this guy, and he was, you know, kind of, there was a lot of aspects to it that make it really egregious. So I'm not a fan of it. And in fact, when I started doing YouTube, the stuff that this person did didn't even cross the minds of people like me because we weren't able to use the technology to kind of fake us being better players. We didn't even have that option. But the positive are like, you know, where I think it's forgiving. So in other words, like basically faking your way through it, or playing a really amazing shredding solo and recording it at halftime and then playing it back at twice the speed and pantomiming it. So it's like, you know, it's not what you can really do. It's fake and manipulated and contrived and put together that way. And that's gone on forever, since the beginning of time. I'm older than a lot of the younger YouTube generation, and so this one story I thought of was it's a movie, but it's a true story, quiz show. It's about this guy that's on a Jeopardy type quiz show, and he's genuinely good at trivia, and he wins a bunch. But what happens is he wins so much that now the TV show is getting amazing ratings, and so they want to keep the story going of this guy winning and breaking the breaking the record for longest wins on a show. So they start giving him, pre-feeding him the answers to the quiz show, and he gets sucked into the machine, and he can't say no. It's like a deal with the devil, and so he ends up becoming part of the conspiracy and becomes, you know, part of the problem. So this newer guitar story is similar to that, where this person probably, you know, he got rewarded for faking it. And it's more than faking it, because he can play guitar, but he can't play anything like the Clips. And every single YouTuber I pretty much have ever met in the guitar world have made a video about it. And so I have some thoughts about that as well. But the actual controversy story part is that this person, that's not what they could really do. And that's like the reverse of what at least my generation was trying to do. I had a passion for guitar, played for a really long time, played gigs before the internet existed. I was in bands and teaching guitar before the internet was even a tool for that. And then as the internet and YouTube came out, I was trying to use it as a tool to then promote that said passion that I already had for music. Not the reverse where I'm going to use the internet, YouTube, and all those tools, and then the talent part or the passion part is kind of like the last part on the list. For me, it was the reverse, right? So that's one part of it. Another part of it is this person was, was very clever because he was finding really talented musicians, but that didn't have a big following, or that the videos he was kind of copying their music from did not have enough followers for those people to like call him out. And that's also why it took so long for him to get exposed on it. But that was, very calculated, and that's really awful. Once again, every single other YouTuber but me has made a video about it, and the other thing about that is those videos have done really well talking about the controversy. Those videos have done better than any of my videos in the last year. And so, the cynical side of me could have just jumped on that and made a big video about it, talk about it, and try and jump on that bandwagon. But I think one of the main reasons I'm making this video today is that, making a video about it isn't as worse as what that person did, but you're kind of like contributing to the overall toxicity of that culture. Because what you're doing now is you're talking about someone that exploited smaller talented people, exploited them by taking their music and basically saying it was your own and selling the tabs and the tablature and all that. But now every single YouTuber has now exploited that by making a video about it, even if they don't really even care about it, just because they know it's going to trend and it's going to get them a lot of, it's going to get them a lot of views. And so it's kind of like you're perpetuating the problem. And it just happened so much in the last few weeks. And even the person that first kind of broke the story open, he's taken a right turn and turned his entire channel into like exposing fakes, and I think that's awful too. So anyway, my overall observation was just, the story is actually really intriguing, and I of course have strong opinions about it, but then every single guitar YouTuber, music YouTuber I've ever met at a NAMM show, like every single one of them made a video about it. And the guy should, be exposed for it because it's an awful thing, but now all those YouTubers are now exploiting someone who exploited someone else. And so it's like a never-ending cycle. And so like I said, I'm not going to use the name in my title here. I'm not going to use the name or anything about it in the keywords of this live stream. And also it's just an overall observation on, our whole culture in general, and the fact that kind of stuff does better now than just like a straight up guitar lesson, like what I do. And don't get me wrong, I was like hammered to make a video about this so much. And I saw other people's videos on it, and it made me want to do it even less and less and less, and even not even do this today. But the other thing about today's live stream is also an experiment, kind of like to kind of prove my point. But once again, I'm not using this person's name, and I'm not going to use it in the keywords to try and jump on that bandwagon. But just the very fact that the title of this video is about controversy, I'm just curious if this live stream will end up doing better than any of my live streams lately, which is also that self-fulfilling prophecy, and also that observation that we're probably all having on the fact that negativity and controversy, conspiracies are getting rewarded by, I guess you could say the word algorithm. it's getting rewarded by the algorithm and all the other also all the guitar YouTubers I know. I think it was about a week ago, 10 days ago, they switched the algorithm around, and they basically just about every guitar YouTuber that I've talked to, all their stats, their revenue, all took a huge spike down. And so that's frustrating because we're all like, trying to make a living. I've got one child in college and another child that's about to be in college. And, I'm not alone. We're all trying to basically support ourselves and our families and stuff. And so when you see stuff that you did just get changed overnight, it's disenchanting. And then you see the controversy and negativity get rewarded because it makes YouTube the most money because of engagement. And really it's just more my overall observation. Like I said, I always stay positive. That's my whole point here. So you can let me know what you think. Josh Norco, thank you. It'll be interesting if this is my best performing live stream in a long time, just because of that very thing that I'm talking about. So maybe I'm kind of jumping in on that as well. But for me, anyway, it's more of commentary on the whole thing in general, not that story that I won't mention the name of, Oh, but I will say that person from the original controversy that now everyone has exploited, he was in Nashville a year ago, about a year ago, and did a show, and he was actually scheduled to do one of my interviews here. And then he was also scheduled to be featured at my friend's live music event they do called the Pitch Meeting. And so Pitch Meeting had it advertised and promoted it, and a lot of people were going to come because of it being promoted, and this person backed out last second and kind of ruined the whole thing because they promoted it. And then with me during that same trip, we were booked to do an interview with him, and he canceled with me the last second as well. So anyway, enough of that. I got one other jam here. Oh, wait. All right. I'm not playing the rhythm track there. So that just occurred to me. But what I did was I played it in real time and recorded it on a looper pedal, and now I'm going to play just the melody over it. So that's not me playing rhythm and lead guitar at the same time. Kind of joking, but I think you get what I'm saying. another thought, and it's about what I think is totally fine and appropriate when you're in the studio. You're you're doing something different than playing live, right? Just how you think about when you go see a band live. There's excitement, there's a little bit of mistakes, it's not as polished and perfect. And when you make a recording in the studio, it's a different snapshot of what you can do, and you do make it more polished. So, for instance, what I think is totally fine is what's called comping a solo. And my musicians out there some of you will know what that means, but I'll explain comping the solo, because if you listen to a Van Halen record, a lot of those solos, even the Beat It solo that Van Halen did on Michael Jackson, speaking of controversy, but the Van Halen solo on Beat It, that's a little piece of a few takes, right? He got the recording, did a solo, they record it, they put it in, he did another try, and they took a little bit of the best stuff of those different tries. That's very different than, kind of like that more fraudulent aspect of that. And so two guitar players, well, actually, I'll go to one of my favorite guitar players who isn't as famous of a rock star because he's more from the jazz world, is John Scofield. John Scofield, no one can argue he's not one of the, greatest guitar. Well, Steve Lukather played all the guitar stuff on Beat It, but he didn't do any part of the solo. But he basically wrote all those guitar parts, so he did have a huge part, a more important part of Beat It than Eddie Van Halen did as far as the composition. But the solo itself is Eddie Van Halen. I mean, there's so much information about that out there, but Steve Lukather played some of the greatest the greatest guitar parts on the Thriller, and I think maybe Off the Wall as well, but Thriller's obviously this huge, important one. So John Scofield, if you see him live, he blows, he'll blow my mind, and he's as incredible a guitar player as you'll ever hear. But when he does an album, he'll comp a solo. And so if John Scofield can do it, then I certainly give that technique a pass. And so what he can do on his records is he would, play through the parts, play through the melody in the head, and then when it came time, yeah, I know, Lukather has a lot to do with it. All good, all good. Not taking anything away from Steve Lukather. Steve Lukather is one of the greatest as well. So, but anyway, comping the solo, John Scofield, he'd take a pass on the solo, and now with Pro Tools, it's even easier with digital editing and all that, but he'd take a solo through the pass, and if you see on the grid, you do your second pass, and it's still on that timeline below it, and then you could do a third pass, and then that solo you can see on the grid below that one, and then so forth and so on. You can do unlimited amount, and then you can literally just mute different solos and play different parts of every solo and see it on the grid and go, I like that section of that part of the solo, I like that part from that take, I like that part from that take. So it's almost like sampling, but you're sampling yourself, and you weren't stealing someone else's licks, you weren't slowing it down to something you're not able to do, but you are compositing.
Sorry, could you say that again?
No, I can't. I'm busy with a live stream right now. Oh, didn't talk back. Yeah, comp is for composite. It's a composite of more than one take in a solo. So that's what that is. Any interesting, I can see your comments here. Is this the Marty McFly guitar? Yeah, this is my Marty Schwartz signature Epiphone ES335. And I always liked 335s, but my name's Marty, like Marty McFly. The red is from is inspired by Back to the Future, and the 335 is inspired by Back to the Future. Someone asked about my Divided by 13, the green one I had. That was a fantastic amp. I love that amp. Well, Divided by 13 got bought by 2 Rock. That's not why I don't have that amp anymore. It was given to me by the owner of Divided by 13, Fred. And then when he either had just sold Divided by 13 to 2 Rock, or was about to, he called me and said, I know you told me, like, because the light had stopped working on the little logo, and maybe there was a few things that needed, like, some maintenance on it. And so he called me to come pick it up to fix it. He didn't say he was coming to take it back and not give it back to me. And so he showed up and he took it, saying he was gonna fix the logo, fix the light on it and bias it and do a bunch of touch-ups to it. And then I never heard from him again, and he sold the company. So I don't know if that was just that amp somehow could have been a loose end for him or something. Totally fine. I would still use it in my own privacy because it was a great amp, but I signed a working relationship with Boss 5 years ago, and because I teach so many beginners, and that's really who needs the videos the most, are people trying to learn guitar. A lot of more advanced guitar players, when it comes to that whole controversy thing again or whatever, this culture, a lot of the more advanced guitar players just come on my channel and all they want to do is point out the little that I made it easier. I didn't do it exactly in the same spot as the original guitar player. They're just there to critique and not actually learn. And I've always catered to more people that need it, the beginners more. And so this Boss Katana here is kind of the most classic entry-level amp, meaning it's super affordable. It's 10 times cheaper than a Divided by 13, and you can get amazing tones out of it. Now, it's not as amazing and boutique-y as a Divided by 13. No, not at all. But it's a workhorse that you can really get a lot of tones out. I've played tons of gigs with it now at this point. So for me, it's more about showing that you can do something with an Epiphone guitar, which is more of an entry-level guitar, and an entry-level amp, because of my quote-unquote brand. I'm teaching beginners, and it's cool to show that I can use that more beginner entry-level equipment and feel comfortable with it. I've never promoted something I don't believe in or use. In fact, what was it? It was a D'Addario. What was the D'Addario plug? What was I doing in that?
Oh, teaching Creed.
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't love Creed.
But a lot of people asked for that lesson.
But a lot of people asked for it.
Yeah.
And I'm providing a service. It's not like...
Yeah, we're not...
if I was only teaching stuff I liked, then there wouldn't be as much to teach. I like a diverse amount of stuff, but... But yeah, no, I did was that the one though? Yeah. Anyway, I did a full long form, what's the song called again?
One Last Breath.
Last Breath.
Hold me now.
Hold me now. It's so far down, yeah. So far down, yeah. But I did a full long form, and it's tricky. The intro is tricky to that. But so I did a full long form tutorial on it, taught all the parts, the bridge, the intro, finger picking thing. I spent a lot of time on it. The intro is kind of tricky, especially since I didn't songs that I didn't listen to that much are even trickier because they're not like in my head, so I have to work harder on those. But then I made a short that was sponsored by D'Addario, and basically just saying I use D'Addario strings, which I do, and then I've got a new lesson on Last Breath by Creed, and that is also the strings that Creed uses, and it was a 1 minute short. I've used D'Addario since before the internet, so I believe in that product, so I have no problem with that. I play a little second of Last Breath and talk about Creed uses those strings and that I use those strings. I was sponsored to do it, but that same day I had a full long form tutorial on that song where I just generally do exactly what I say I'm going to do. I teach you the song. I don't just play it, I teach it. And there was a comment in the short like, Marty, you're better than this. This was just an ad. How could you? How dare you? And all that kind of stuff. And I did say it in private to myself and to my team, but I was like, what's up, dude? How do you think I make a living? You know? What do you mean I'm better than that? Don't we all try and like, originally I started making videos to literally pay for diapers, and now that kids in college, am I just doing this to like show my guitar teaching skills? Of course, like I want to help people, but everyone has a right to make a living. And I'm one of the lucky ones that get to make a living doing the thing I love and with ethics, morals and ethics. And if, I was promoting something that I secretly thought was crap, then that's not ethical. But if I taught the lesson earlier that day, and I know most of you agree with me, so I'm just making a point of like, from my perspective of the things I deal with on a daily basis that I don't talk about, that's one of those where, whatever, I just delete it and block the person. But it's just like, what do you, like, who put you on your high horse? I'm lucky. I got to help people learn a song that I don't really like Creed that much, but I worked for like a week kind of nailing that lesson down to make for everybody. The video itself gets claimed by the publishers. I really don't make any money on the actual lesson itself. And then in a little 1 minute short, I did an endorsement for a product I've used my whole career of playing guitar and got a little bit of money for it because I'm trying to put my kids through college and pay for my mortgage and pay for groceries. And I have no problem with that. And I know all of you guys watching right now don't have a problem with that either. But that just kind of goes back to to this whole title of this video. This live stream will probably do better than any I've done in 6 months because of the title, which is a bummer, and I'm not going to go down that route. This is more of a commentary and also an observation on just the culture in general. This is so much more than what's going on with guitar and guitar YouTube. It's the entire, culture and the way the internet's used and the way the media is used and all that. So yeah, I use NYXLs. I mean, I don't know, man. They're definitely the best strings I've ever used, and I think they were the best strings. So I work with Boss, I work with D'Addario, I work with Gibson. These are all things I was already using, and I'm fortunate enough to create partnerships with the things I already use. I suppose, and I do these really fun ads. If you look at my the Ocean lesson on Led Zeppelin, I do a monthly ad for DistroKid, and if you guys watch the Ocean lesson, try and stick around in the beginning to see my my Cribs spoof on the MTV Cribs. Um, and that was super fun. Since I don't really I'm not trying to release original music or be an original artist or transition from being known on YouTube as a guitar teacher and transition to like trying to do a band and stuff like that. I DistroKid isn't something as much of something I use because that's for releasing your own music. But if I did do a band and I did want to try and be an original artist, musical artist, I would use DistroKid to do it. So I think I get a pass on promoting DistroKid. But the best thing about DistroKid is they let us do any kind of ad that we want. So we've done the action movie, horror movie. We just did we did a cereal 80s cereal commercial, a 90s TV sitcom. We did this really funny Western cowboy commercial, and they're all tied in with song lessons. So I can't ever remember which ones are tied to which, but we just shot one yesterday, and I mean I don't know. Each one we do, I'm always like, this has to be the funniest one or the best one. And they're all really great. And huge shout out to my production manager and editor Jacob Kasamis, who is the one that kind of puts those together. I wish I could take credit for that, but it's not me. It's my production coordinator, Jacob, who does such an amazing job, and we have so much fun, and we're laughing about it the whole time. So yesterday we shot a new one. May the Schwartz be with you. That's not what we did. I just see the comment there. We did a Bob Ross painting one, and we got the wig, the big curly permed wig, and I painted I wish it was in here. I moved it into my house. We did a DistroKid painting of me painting the the DistroKid logo, which was really, really fun to do. And so that's the next one. There's one a month. It's not that big of a deal. Let's see. Here's another one I did a short on lately. Let's see if I can remember it here. Let's see. Remove that click. Shout out to Michael Palmisano of Guitargate. He created this new pedal called Teleport, and he was in town this last weekend, or no, this week, and he gave me one of these new pedals, and it can be a looper, but it's like a multi-track recorder on a pedal, and then you can easily upload it to a database and share it with other guitar players and stuff like that. Oh, you're saying the country. That's not what I was going to play. But I'm using the pedal, so I'm still like kind of learning it. But that's a shout out again to Michael Palmisano, Guitargate. He made this cool pedal called Teleport. And I also saw someone's comment about Howard Stern mentioning that he uses my signature guitar. That's really cool. I'm honored by that. Okay, so here, I'm going to use this pedal as a looper, but it does so much more than that. Let's see what I can do. This is a fun one to loop. The chords aren't too hard. Go through the verse one more time. It's still recording in real time. Not doing it slow. No fakery. C, index off to F with a little looper pedal, it's so much more, but the teleport pedal, I started it right on the, and then when I recorded the whole thing, and when I got back to that same downbeat, instead of strumming that downbeat, I clicked the loop to finish, and now I have that whole thing recorded in the pedal, and I can, see. All right, on the Dave First Howard comment. You're kind of a nitpicker, I gotta say. And in all fairness, I've talked to Howard on the phone, and yes, he's gotten a lot of free guitars, and he's played my guitar, all right? Fair enough, But you're part of the internet. Congratulations. All right. That would be one of those things where, like, if I were you, I would have just never made that comment. I would just let it go. Because you kind of get the point I was at least making. I didn't get into the whole details. But last week I talked more about it, the whole story about Howard Stern watching a lot of my lessons, me setting the guitar. The whole story is in my live stream from last week. It's like, a good example would be me playing this. And saying, that's not it, that's not how it goes, because it's on piano. Yeah, I know. Actually, John Lennon didn't play Imagine that way. He didn't play it on guitar. He actually played it on piano. So this is actually the, you're fine, Dave. That's the kind of live stream I'm making today, is just like kind of talking about this culture that we're in. Like a good example. If I just told you to close your eyes and I played this. I said, okay, now close your eyes and listen to this and tell me which one's the right one. But just closing your eyes though, not looking at my hands. And I played this. One more time, I'll play the right way and the quote unquote wrong way. Here's the right way. The wrong way. Now, if you wrote the right way and the wrong way, and you wrote it onto classical sheet music, with the notations, the notes, not the tab, but the actual notation, musical notation, and you wrote the wrong way and the right way of that, they would look identical. They would be the exact same thing. And also, since I teach so many beginners, sometimes I will put it in a spot that makes more sense to be more accessible to people. I've never claimed to, play the B note where the original artist plays it, as opposed to where sometimes I'm going to be playing it where it's going to be easier for as many students as possible to play it. So that's my point. I'm going to play that. Let's see here. All those parts are so amazing. But then there's a single note version, and it kind of is along with what I'm saying, is that he then goes to a single note, and if you see footage live, he doesn't go, which you think maybe he would. Instead, it's right. It's my favorite Robert Downey Jr. guitar riff that there is. For sure, Robert Downey Jr. played that one so awesomely. He's my favorite guitar player. I had another thought that went away. Sabbath is so good. It's funny, like Sabbath, it doesn't even sound like like heavy metal anymore to me. Uh-oh. Okay, audiophile, young band trying to start out. Any tips? Well, it would seem that you want to. I gave Liam and Cal a shout out a while ago, but hi again. Young band trying to start out. Any tips? Yeah. I mean, it's a great question, right? One, you might want to spend some time developing a bit. There's so much information out there on how to become a better at your own personal instrument. There's a lot of information and videos out there on how to become a better band, creative techniques, creative exercises, um, and you might want to spend some time hibernating on just getting as good as you can get. Like, give yourself a window or a timeline. Like, for the next year, we're going to practice every day. Not everyone can practice every day, but let's just say, in a perfect world, we're going to practice. Each of us are going to work 2 hours a day on our individual abilities, whatever that means. Break it up into sections, practicing my instrument, listening to my influences, learning other people's songs that I want my band to sound like. Break that up into these great little categories, and then let's say 2 hours a day as a band, doing band exercises, working on your own music, and playing covers. The Beatles started as a cover band. Not everyone agrees, but more people than don't agree Beatles are kind of the most important and best overall band that's ever existed, and they started as a cover band. So you're gonna write better originals, learning a lot of covers that are your influences. The more you do that, you start to see how you start to like subliminally figure out how they made the sausage, and then eventually you change the recipe and make your own sausage with what you've learned. So that'd be another thing. But then once you do that, then there's really the whole promoting yourself, marketing, sales and marketing. People can be really good at marketing and not be a great band and get a lot farther than a great band who does bad marketing. Now, if you're a great band with great marketing, now you're doing all of the things that you need to do. And what is great marketing? Well, there's, once again, a lot of information out there about what the concept of sales and marketing even is. And me as an artist, when I was learning guitar, I thought I was doing something that I loved that was not ever going to be sales and marketing or business. I didn't want to be a businessman. I didn't want to do sales. I didn't want to be a business person. I wanted to be a guitar player, right? But then as soon as I understood that sales and marketing is even more important as an artist because you're selling and marketing your art, that's when I realized that there were things I was avoiding. And some of that is not the fun part, right? So then you have to get into that, and then what the heck are your best chances with that? And it seems to be TikTok these days. It's constantly changing how to get, traction on TikTok, but the discovery algorithms on TikTok and Instagram and YouTube Reels do give you the best chance to break through with like a one-off random viral video that can break out into people, to reach people with little traction built up to it. And it is like playing a slot machine, but the better you are and the more prepared you are, the better chance you have to then get one of those jackpots. And you also have to play a lot because it's a numbers game, so you have to play the slot machine as much as possible, putting your quarters in, and then once you do get one of those breakthroughs, you try and analyze why that one did so much better than your other ones, and you try and learn from that data. You're getting data feedback, and then you double down on the things that are working, and then you do it again, and you do it again, and then you do it again. But no matter how good you are or how talented you are, it's just a fact that being super talented, great songs, you want that, and that's your best bet. But even with the best songs, best guitar solos, best singer, best talent, even with that, chance, randomness, and luck are still going to be part of becoming successful. And there is a definition, some definitions of luck is preparation and timing. So once again, it's like you really have to like study all the different aspects to give yourself the best chance. Don't be random with it, and it's never been a better time to get information and to study. I'm giving it all out right now, but it's never been a better time to use all the tools and information and education at your disposal. You know, my videos didn't exist for myself, so I had to spend a lot of money on guitar lessons, and then I went to college and studied music in college. Pretty much everything I learned in college, at least it was like important to me as a guitar player, I've taught for free on YouTube. So all the information is out there, but it's like, it's not just like working hard, it's like working smart, which is kind of a cliche, but it's so true. And then luck being timing and preparation. My perfect example for me with luck and like kind of breaking onto to YouTube when I did in 2008, the timing and the preparation. The timing was, it was 2008, YouTube was just a burgeoning platform that none of us knew what was going to happen with it. And preparation, I was already in my 30s, who had taught thousands of private guitar lessons and played thousands of live gigs. So the preparation was there at the perfect timing and preparation. The timing, 2008, I wasn't some little kid that could barely play guitar. I was someone who had spent a decade as a professional musician. However successful, known or not known I was, is debatable, but I had spent my 10,000 hours as a guitar player, and maybe 10,000 hours as a good private guitar teacher as well, right at the perfect timing of YouTube coming out. And so I got lucky because the timing was perfect, and I had a lot of preparation as a guitar teacher who then came out on YouTube. How's that, Matt?
Really good.
Okay. Thank you. Now, some of you guys have given me super chats today, and I feel like I have to give it back today because usually I pay a lot more than what you guys gave me today in therapy. I'm not ashamed to say that. So I almost feel like I kind of owe you guys the money back for the therapy session today. But we had fun. I had fun. Something about this felt good. Let me go back to the very beginning of the title of this video, because it's related to, I'm going to talk to you guys right now. Matt's my friend and manager over here, or manager and friend. I'll quote Tenacious D. As long as there's a record deal, we'll always be friends. As long as there's ad revenue, we'll always be friends, yeah. And I think Tenacious D will be back, so just keep that in mind. But Matt and I have been working for 6 months or longer on a bunch of plans we have, and there were some world events that screwed up our timeline, screwed up our plans. Is the Phil X thing still for sale today? We left it for today? Yeah. So like one of those things is, I produced a master class for Marcus King, and I produced a master class for Jared James Nichols, and I produced a master class now that's only got one more day of being on sale for Phil X. And those aren't on martymusic.com. It's on a platform that I helped create, but I don't own it because there was no easy way for guys like that to own their own guitar lesson thing. And I have all this, 20 years almost of experience of doing that very thing. And so I saw a little opening to help those guys. And so you can get the Phil X one. Oh yeah, the new pinned comment there could also be there depending on where you're watching. But Phil X's masterclass right there. Oh, Matt, if you're watching on YouTube, then it's there, huh? Mm-hmm. For you. Mm-hmm. But for me, I'm watching on a mirrored image of the phone, so it's down below me, but it could also be right there. So the last 6 months, this was on hold because of different plans that were going on that then got destroyed by world events. Thank you, world. So now they're back in my hands and under my supervision, but I don't actually own those products because I wanted the artists to own them themselves. And so we've got another one coming out, best bluegrass guitar player or one of the best alive, who is Trey Hensley. And then another amazing artist, more of the John Mayer kind of inspired type of artist, Quinn Sullivan, who's incredible. Those are two that I've produced that are not out yet. And then in a few weeks, I'm going to be making one for a guitar player I like a lot, and he's a really nice guy. His name's Frank Hannon from the band Tesla. The band Tesla. I'm sure that's very confusing for them now. They've been together a lot longer than the car company. In fact, I still remember driving in my car with the CD player, and it was the kind of CD player radio that could the front of it could be taken out so people wouldn't steal your stereo out of your car. So I can still remember being in my little Nissan with my CD player, and I was like, signs, signs everywhere, signs blocking up the city, making my mind. Do this, don't do that, can't you read the signs? Which was a cover. That was them doing a cover. But Tesla, 5-man acoustical jam, that was like multi-platinum. And I'm so happy for them because I was actually a fan of them before that happened to them. But anyway, gonna produce a Frank Hannon masterclass, and that's all at a site called Inspirato.com, which actually comes from a Tenacious D term that was when they were only no one knew Tenacious D hardly, except for musicians and a few other random people who watched HBO, over 25 years ago. They had a little sketch, these little sketch comedy shorts. Tenacious D, that's how they started on HBO, with these little comedy shorts. And the very first one is called The Search for Inspirato. And I had the epiphany to call the platform Inspirato. So if you go to Inspirato.com, you'll see the Marcus King, Jared James Nichols, and Phil X all have their own master classes on there, and more are going to be coming out, and that's its own business that I don't own. But I mean, obviously I'm a producer, so I will get compensated as a producer, but it's not part of Marty Music. It's something completely different. That's a way for artists to make their own master classes that they own. And so anyway, that's that. Oh, but the last 6 months of plans that Matt and I had that have been destroyed by world events. Thank you, world. So anyway, we're like scrambling and checking off all these different things one at a time that we're doing. And one of them is, I have this kind of community that made a lot more sense a decade ago called Patreon. A lot of people know Patreon. But it's just a weird outlier for me that's this like other platform that's floating out into space. And it's hard enough to get people to come to my YouTube channel, or to get them to come over to martymusic.com, or then get them to come over to my Instagram, or then to check on my Facebook and all that stuff, right? And then all of a sudden you have this other one called Patreon. It's almost impossible to get any new people over there and all that. So we've been working for a while to do something for you guys, and something much better than Patreon. And no offense to Patreon. Patreon's great for a lot of people. It doesn't really fit for me. It's not working for me. Now, if you're part of my Patreon right now, Alex Holden, you love the Patreon channel because we get better time and less spam, right? Well, that's where I'm going with this. And this will actually benefit you the most. And Alex, I know you. So Alex Holden the second here, he's one of the people that comes to my Patreon only live stream. And so is here Josh Norco, right there. Or right there, if you're looking at the comments there. I'm looking at him right there. Alex Holden II and Josh Norco are two of my biggest supporters I have, other than my mom. Thanks, Mom. So they come once a month. I do a Patreon-only live stream. And what's so cool about it, and Ted Fitzgerald, and I'm not surprised you guys are here right now, and you guys really make this stuff happen for me. So thank you. And don't worry, this is actually better for you guys the most because you're so involved with that Patreon. This is actually going to be better for you guys specifically. Greg Levinson as well. So I have this website, martymusic.com. I've had that website for 9 years. For most of those 9 years, there weren't functions like Patreon as part of that platform. I sold courses, right? And I still sell courses. In fact, I'm about 25 chapters into a brand new Eric Clapton inspired course that I've been working hard on. I'm not sure, I said hard on. I've been working very diligently on that. And so I'm about 30 chapters in, and it's being worked on, so you guys will know as soon as that's available. But when my platform that I use to make martymusic.com, it was designed for, website building, developing your email list, and selling these premium courses that have tablature and transcriptions, high definition, widescreen, great sound, in-depth, like multi-hour courses that follow a curriculum. So way more in-depth than the stuff I do on YouTube, right? It's like a premium product that I've been making. In fact, I have over 35 different courses on martymusic.com. But when it came to Patreon, which is like a community where you get rewarded for the different tiers of the community that you sign up for, and the lowest one is that you get to help me choose what content I make on YouTube. And then the next tier is you get the Patreon only live stream, right? Very cheap too. Is that right, Matt?
Yeah, $10.
$10 a month. You get the one Patreon only live stream. But what's been kind of so amazing about that Patreon only live stream, and you saw the names I shouted out, like Josh Norco. Usually there's no more than 10 people in a live stream with me. And sometimes we just, the last few, once again, I owe them money because the last few have been more therapy sessions for myself. So thank you guys for that. But the idea is, if there's only 10 people watching a live stream, it's literally a $2 guitar clinic seminar where I can get in depth and teach you guys the topics that you want me to cover. And I can talk to each of you individually, which I can't do here, too many comments. And then obviously there is spam here, and then there's also negativity sometimes. It's always usually pretty positive, but sometimes I get thrown off by someone, just writing something stupid, or and there is actually such a thing as a stupid question. I've learned that saying is not true, that there's no such thing as a stupid question. That's actually not true. Right, Matt?
That's right.
That's right. Most of them are good, but anyway. So you don't get that one-on-one thing here. So I'm creating basically my own community platform but it'll be right at my martymusic.com. So I don't have to ask you to go to a third thing or a fifth thing, right? I've got my YouTube that anyone can watch for free. If you want to get better quicker, you can buy one of my courses a la carte. But what I'm going to do from there is I'm going to create a much better version than what you see of Patreon, and you only have to go to my website, so you don't have to go somewhere new. I also found it difficult to it's too disjointed. Being like, YouTube, now come to here, now I'm doing this. Oh, by the way, I have this thing called Patreon. Go to there too. It was didn't make a lot of sense, especially as time went on. So yeah, and also it'll bring people over to martymusic.com for more than just me trying to get you to buy one of my courses, which of course I want you to do, and I'm proud and I believe in those courses. I know they help people. I've met them out in public and seen amazing players who learn from those. So I know that it can work and help people. What's up, Brian Foster in Keene, New Hampshire? Is that New Hampshire? It's got to be, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Geography was never my strong suit. Okay, but so anyway, it's not gonna be out for a minute, but we've been working on it. In fact, a lot of these plans started 6 months ago, and then with world events changing the timeline of these events, we're taking this into our own hands and doing it ourselves, including now plugging these PhilX Masterclass. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to offer some different tiers on martymusic.com instead of Patreon. And so what I'm thinking about is for that tier, I think I'm going to do, and you can give me the feedback. I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers or make people upset or anything. But what I'm thinking is I'm going to do the weekly, guaranteed half hour, but this one's been over an hour. I'm going to do a more quality live stream that people can choose what topic, and it'll be like a clinic and discussion, but I'll take that first half hour and focus on the thing that most of those people want. And the good news is it won't be vertical, it'll be horizontal, which will be really great. Again, the only reason it's vertical here is because no one will watch it if it's not here with the algorithm. And these live streams don't make me any money either. And money's not the bottom line, but it's like if I'm going to spend an hour of my real time, I'd rather do it for 15 to 20 people who are just paying a very small amount and give them a better experience that helps them and a more sense of community than what's going on here in these live streams. So let me know what you think. One thing I was thinking is that I could still do the Saturday live stream at 1 o'clock here because I've been doing it for so many years, but just do it for like 10 or 15 minutes. And then after those 10 or 15 minutes is up, it'll be the same time that I move over to the high def new version of the community live stream for members only, which you will pay for that tier. So I'm thinking something like that. So I won't stop doing this weekly live stream, but maybe I'm just going to limit it to like 10 or 15 minutes so we can all catch up with each other, talk about what's going on. And then right after that ends, I'm going to go to the tiered high def, horizontal, HD, topical, so it's not going to be like this live stream at all, because I'm going to, throughout the week, give you guys opportunities to help me mold and choose what topic to do in that high quality live stream for a members only, smaller community, higher quality, smaller amount of people. I think it's going to benefit everybody. And then not only that, I'm thinking this is the first thing I'll introduce is this one tier, which will be a weekly live stream that you help decide the topic, which will be education based, and then a discussion that could be fun after that. But not only that, for that same tier, I'm going to give you access to all of my courses at martymusic.com that you can stream. You won't be able to download if you're on that tier, but you'll also have access to those almost 40 different courses I made over 9 years, which I think will be a really cool function that goes beyond that. And then that same tier, I'm thinking a bi-weekly community-only video lesson that's not on YouTube, or I'll release it there and then like a month later release it as a YouTube video, but you guys will get instant and first access that you'll also be helping decide what the actual video will be. So if there's more beginners than anyone else that are all saying beginner strum patterns, like that's the thing I'm struggling with, I'm a beginner, and more people pick that, then I'm going to release that for that same community group only. And then later I will probably release it as a YouTube video, but you guys will start to be the little priority. And then For instance, the Eric Clapton course, because I'm still really, my whole business has been based on a la carte courses, because a beginner doesn't want an advanced course, an advanced player doesn't want a beginner course. So I'm still going to sell the courses the same way I always have. Um, but, so like the Clapton course, that'll just come out not as part of that community tier first. That'll be a course, and then I'd say, you know, probably about 2 months later, it'll be added to the community thing. So I can still kind of offer the unique courses and have people still interested in that model, which has been my whole model for 10 years. So, does that sound all right? Let me know real quick before I get out of here. And I got to end with one more jam, but hopefully, I think it's a really good plan. I think overall it's better for people. I mean, what is it? Quality over quantity. I'd rather have 20 really dedicated students, um, 20 really dedicated students in a live stream than three or 400, where it's like the majority of them are saying, give me a shout out, give me a shout out, give me a shout out, give me a shout out. Metallica, 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 Nirvana, 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 Nirvana. And then, okay, so Burke and Theresa suggested if you can, let people pay a yearly fee for access. You detest the monthly, get hit with for Patreon due to fluctuating exchange rates and all that. Yes. Now, there will be a year offer, but because my whole business has been built on a la carte courses, I can't roll every single option out at the same time. So the first one will be the monthly, and then I think about a little bit after that, probably after the Clapton course comes out, and then that's out for 2 months. After that, I'll then offer the yearly. Just like running a business, you can't roll out too many things at the same time without kind of screwing up your business workflow. So I am going to offer the yearly thing, but I have to do one rollout at a time and let it space out. And yeah, so that's the plan. So I will, I do plan on doing this normal live stream next Saturday because these things don't get created overnight, but I wanted to give you guys a first kind of taste of what the plans are. I think it'll be really cool.
And it'll be on an app.
Oh, yes. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah.
Part of that will actually be that this will come out at the same time as an app version of martymusic.com. So you'll be able to do it all on your mobile device if you want. Now, here's what's cool about the martymusic.com app. There's nothing different about it than martymusic.com. It's just martymusic.com's never been on the App Store or through an app. So if you've never been part of martymusic.com, you can go to the App Store and you'll see martymusic.com on there. Click it, download it for free. So you'll have it for free. It's not an app for sale. You get it for free. And if you've already bought any of my courses at Marty Music, you can just log right in and the Marty logo will be on the app. We've been going over that. So you'll be able to put in your login if you own one course or I have free courses there. I have a bunch of free courses at martymusic.com, like the bar chords, power chords, 5 shapes of the minor pentatonic. There'll be a great digital version of the PDF Ultimate Guitar Guide on there. That's all free, right? So you can sign up, put your login in, and if you own any of the courses, they'll just show up right on your iPad or your phone or whatever. If you never bought a course before, you can buy it through the app. Nothing changes about martymusic.com, the website. It's just an extra option. So this is all rolling out into the future. I love being able to have real feedback with you guys to be able to do that. And one more quick plug. Tomorrow at 6 p.m. I'm playing a gig with my own band I put together for the gig at the Underdog in Nashville, Tennessee.
Is Aaron playing? Somebody was asking.
Aaron Paulson will be sitting in
Nice.
on the drums. I don't know if he's going to bring his ball cap with the drumstick, though. He should, right?
He should.
Should we just, for like 5 minutes, play Come As You Are, where he plays guitar and drums at the same time?
Yeah.
He should. So if you don't know Aaron Paulson, check him out. He does really funny stuff, and he's a really, like, when I got together with Aaron a couple months ago, he's just a great drummer, besides being really funny and making more like high concept music comedy. He's actually just a great musician, young guy, great drummer. So he's going to sit in on a couple songs. And then the other people, I've got one of the greatest young guitar players sitting in named Jake Baines, who recently did some lessons here at MartyMusic.com. I want to show him off, my guitar slave that I've created, my Frankenstein. No, he's actually incredible. And it has nothing to do with me, but that's not true, because he did actually learn from my videos as a little kid. But then he went and did his own thing, man. He's incredible. He went to the Berklee School of Music, graduated about 1.5 years ago, and he just absolutely rips on guitar. And he'll be sitting in, Jake Baines, and also an amazing young singer from the same Berklee School of Music program as Jake, that's the same age. They're both 23 years old. So I'm going to have youth there, and Aaron Paulson might even be younger than 23. Is Aaron younger than 23?
I think that's his age.
Oh, he's that age too. So there's this whole new group of 23-year-olds who I helped brainwash at a young age, and now they all made the mistake of trying to do music for a living. It's my fault, and I apologize to their parents. But I'm going to have a bunch of these young kids ripping, and I'm old enough now to not be jealous. I mean, a little jealous, but old enough to not want to, hold them back, but actually promote them. How's that? That's very honest. Okay, here we go. We'll see you next Saturday. Let's see here. I'm still working on this looper teleport pedal for Michael Palmisano. All right. I think it works. I screwed up. It was still recording. I should do that again. Let me do that again. Why not? Oh, hold on. I'm learning this new pedal. All right. I see what I did. I see the mistake I made. I'm going to try that again. Here we go. Daniel Handley. Yes, I know. Daniel Hanley says, I want your number. Here it is. 8675-309. 8675-309, area code 714. 8675-309 with the area code 714. 8675-309. My mom's Jenny. Benny, won't you lose my number? Oh, we have the same thing again where it's not. Here, hold that.
Yep.
I think I broke it.
Stream too long. I think last time
Yeah, what did you do last time?
I exited out of it and then reloaded it. And then
Well, it didn't work that time. Benny, won't you lose my number? 'Cause you're not anywhere that I can find you. Do. It's not working, dude. Sorry, folks. Trying to close it out. I think I went so long that I broke the system. Oh. Well, I'm just going to agree. I guess I'm stuck in the Matrix forever.
Or did you go live again?
Go live again?
Or it's not giving you that option?
Start a poll, start Q&A. How could I go live again if I'm currently live?
Oh. I thought maybe that's what I did last time when I exited it out, but
So it'd be good to research. It'd be good to research for next time. Yeah, there's this weird glitch, everybody, when I go too long, it won't let me close out. Like I hit the X button and nothing happens. And, I'm not going to go into the bathroom and go to the bathroom or anything, so we're fine, but...
let me try again.
The bathroom and go to the bathroom or anything, so we're fine, but...
Let me try again.
I don't know what you try.